Hey, welcome back to DieCash Cars. So much too often as collectors we focus so heavily on the hunting and the adrenaline rush that we get when we find chase pieces and super treasure hunts, etc. And we don't take advantage of the stories and the reasons as to why we have these cars in our collections. Let's take for example Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution, a super treasure hunt that I actually just found earlier this week. A very underrated super treasure hunt, I would say, here for 2024. But besides the fact that it's a super treasure hunt, I mean, for me, it's the story around this car. I mean, it was a late night after school with my kids. We went to the grocery store just to look for some candy for a trick-or-treat event coming up this weekend. I so happened to run into a stalker, asked if they had any extra Hot Wheels cases in the back. Again, this is like 6 p.m. at night, so fully not anticipating there to be anything. But to my surprise, and to my kids' surprise, they bring out 3 boxes. So super fortunate there, was able to go through all 3 cases with my kiddos. And in the last box that we opened, there sat this Pajero Evolution Super Treasure Hunt in all its Spectra Flame Amber glory. Pulled it out, took a couple pictures with my kids, brought it home along with a bunch of candy. So again, it's these stories that just go so underrated that are attached to these cars. And we can tell these stories, whether it's to our kids, to our friends, fellow collectors. And it just adds that much more value to these cars that are sitting in our collections. And like I just stated, this is such an underrated super treasure hunt for 2024. I mean, just looking at the secondary market right now, these are sitting right around $25-$30, so very obtainable even if you never found one in your local grocery stores like I did. But man, that color just looks great. I love the throwback to these old school 6-spoke wheels, which are the same real riders that the Mitsubishi Evo Super Treasure Hunt also dons. And then you got the homage to rally art, which is a big part of the Mitsubishi heritage. In all honesty, guys, this is actually a really cool car in real life. I mean, just a tiny little Geo Tracker looking car, but I mean, it's got full-blown performance, all-wheel drive, turbo, and call it a hunch, guys, but I think long-term, this Super will have more standalone value than it does right now. And the second cool story I wanted to share with you guys as far as what I've obtained from my own personal collection. Well, first off, you guys know here in 2024, Hot Wheels is betting big on Transformers. I'm not sure how they were able to get this license from their main competitor, Hasbro, but they did it. And for that, we thank Mattel for it, because a lot of cool Transformer releases this year, kind of like the track fleet Optimus Prime there, and then also the mainline Bumblebee, the Volkswagen Beetle there. Again, all castings that I think Hot Wheels for the most part had, but again, to see them in the branded Transformer liveries and colorways, I mean, it's just super cool to see. The other really awesome Transformer release that we saw this year that was actually a bit of a surprise. I mean, I feel like it was announced and then launched about a week after, but was through the Mattel Creations website. You could have gotten this collaboration between Hot Wheels, Hasbro, Transformers, and it is none other than the Optimus Prime Premium. I mean, just look at that presentation, the box and everything. And I will tell you guys that I actually missed out on this RLC release. It was $80 retail, and I basically just said, no, I'm not gonna drop $80 on this, because first and foremost, it doesn't look super clean like RLC releases. I felt like there were gonna be flaws that I just couldn't live with. On top of that, I'm not a huge Transformer guy. Transformers kind of took off a little bit before I was even born, so I just missed the Transformer fanboy era. But I will admit, this was a really cool release nonetheless. Again, I grew to regret that decision of not picking up this from the Mattel Creations website, because right now these are sitting at about $160 to $180. They're listing for $200 plus all the time right now. So just from a investment side of things, as well as just the pure and simple fact that this is such a unique release from Hot Wheels, Mattel Creations, I mean, I knew that if the opportunity ever presented itself, I would make sure to pick one up for my collection. And one day while I was perusing eBay, by the way, shout out eBay, because they've always been able to save me in a pinch just like this. But again, searching for RLC Mattel Creations Optimus Prime on eBay, I ran across this listing right here. It was the Mattel Creations RLC Optimus Prime, but it was only listed at $100 plus shipping, which is about $50 to $60 less than what they were selling for. So I was intrigued, clicked on the listing, and it just said reads for more information. Looked at the description. It was saying that the box contained the Optimus Prime truck, but it was missing the standing figure. Because if you look in the box and off the Mattel Creations website, they give you an extra plastic molding to hold Optimus Prime when you actually transform it into the robot format. But it'll come from Mattel in the truck format. So the seller, and I'm imagining the seller was the one who purchased this off of Mattel Creations, or maybe not because they didn't know this, but they didn't realize that it's all in the same and that you would actually have to transform Optimus Prime in order to fit it into this blister molding. It's kind of funny, but the seller then thought that it was missing a second figure and dropped the price $50 lower than what everybody else was selling it for. So this was the exact opportunity that I was looking for to pick this up, redeem myself for not picking it up at retail, and get it for a deal, albeit $20 more than retail, but I'll still take it. Picked it up, showed up, perfect condition. Everything, the box, the card, everything was all there. The only downside to this pickup was the condition of this outer box here. You can see has some dents and scratches, but that's not a deal breaker because the most important thing is that Optimus is in the package and in good condition, and it was. But super thrilled to add this to my collection, redeeming myself. I mean, let's just take a couple minutes here to observe and just kind of take in what Mattel Creations did here. I mean, you can basically see all the transforming lines, how this casting itself will kind of shift into the robot version of Optimus Prime. I mean, it's got real riders on it. I mean, this is essentially a first of a kind. Mattel Creations, Hot Wheels, Mattel, they've yet to make a full metal die-cast transformable piece like this. And yeah, this is, again, just from a Hot Wheel collector standpoint, worth collecting, even if you're not a major Transformer fan. And without damaging this thing, let me just show you guys how Optimus comes to be. And I've had very little practice here, so if I mess up, don't clown me too much in the comments here. But I mean, it's pretty intuitive, guys. At least I say that now. But I mean, you got the feet that come apart, and then they even bend up, I believe. And this is a posable figure as well too. Once you get it all opened up here, so the arms are coming out, the head comes out, and then the hands are actually right there, and they're a separate piece, so we'll just put those there. We'll stick them on after we got the rest of Optimus Prime opened up here. And I recall this from when I was practicing earlier too, but the feet are very fixed, and you actually have to, let's see, pull forward and then push up is how you do that. So yeah, pretty slick. I mean, to know that this was and I wouldn't call it exactly 164, but it was, you know, a die cast truck. And again, this is all metal. It's a pretty heavy casting here, but the fact that you can actually transform it and pose it into Optimus Prime is pretty slick. And there we go, I went ahead and put his hands on as well as gave him his blaster, because what's Optimus Prime without his blaster fighting bad guys? But man, it's really a breathtaking piece. I mean, all the Spectraflame red and blues, the correct Optimus classic colors. And yeah, it's posable, it's transformable. I mean, it kind of makes you think, is this a sneak peek at what's to come with Hot Wheels Mattel Creations? I mean, for example, are they going to give us a Bumblebee version of a transformable super premium like this Optimus in the coming months or in the next year or so? I mean, that would be pretty awesome, which again just makes this Optimus Prime that much more valuable if they're going to make this into some kind of Transformer line offered through Mattel Creations. Or I mean, even better if they give us like a Megatron. That would be so cool, because then you could have these cool scenes with the transformable Optimus Prime and a Megatron in some kind of fight sequence. I mean, there is an endless possibilities knowing that Hot Wheels has the capability of making something this unique. And again, for me personally, I'm just glad that I was able to pick one up for $100. I mean, just 20 over retail and 50 under full-blown secondary market value. I mean, just somewhat getting in at a ground level, because I do think the value of this Optimus Prime is going to continue to go up. I mean, if you just think about it, Hot Wheels aside, Transformer toys are huge. I mean, there is a cult following for that entire franchise. I mean, my assumption, guys, is that the reason this Transformers Optimus Prime from Mattel Creations sold out and is fetching such a high price on the secondary market is due to the fact that with this release, it brought in a lot of Transformer collectors into the Hot Wheels space. I mean, the value on this is bound to go up. I mean, it's not going to come any lower than where it's at right now at the $150, $160 price point. Now it's in my collection. I got this cool story about this eBay listing that was kind of suspect, but it pulled through and I was able to get this piece at a good deal. And it's just another piece on the wall that is a talking piece that I can share with fellow collectors and family and friends as they come and take a peek at my collection. But let me know what kind of awesome deals you guys have gotten lately, whether they were on eBay or whatnot, or just trading with fellow collectors. Let me know what kind of cool stories and adventures you guys have had out there in the collecting space. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on DieCash Cars.